Ical Tales. God floods the earth, sparing Noah, his family, and two of every animal on board his ark. Now an international team of researchers have found new evidence that a famous formation in Turkey could be the site of the ancient vessel. In the remote mountains of Turkey, researchers investigating a mysterious boat-shaped formation made a discovery that sparked global interest. Beneath the surface, they found unusual structures that raised new questions and stirred ancient beliefs. Could this site be linked to the story of Noah's Ark? While definitive answers remain elusive, the findings have intrigued scientists and historians alike. Join us as we explore what was uncovered and why this quiet corner of Turkey may hold clues to one of history's oldest legends, the mysterious boat-shaped formation in the shadow of Mount Ararat, where snow-capped peaks pierce the Turkish sky. A quiet valley guards a secret that has captivated dreamers, scientists, and believers for generations. Here in the rugged terrain of eastern Turkey lies the Durupinar Formation, a 538 feet long boat-shaped mound that has for decades fueled one of humanity's greatest mysteries. Could this be the final resting place of Noah's Ark? The story begins in the 1950s when a Turkish army captain flying overhead first spotted the uncanny outline etched into the earth. From above, the formation's contours were unmistakable. A colossal ship, seemingly run and frozen in time. The news quickly rippled through local villages, drawing curious onlookers, and soon after, the world's media. The BBC dispatched a film crew in the 1960s, and National Geographic's photographers trekked up the mountain slopes, their cameras capturing the enigmatic shape that so closely matched the biblical ark's proportions. But the Durupinar Formation was more than just a curiosity for the camera lens. As the decades rolled on, the site drew the attention of international teams of scientists and archaeologists, each determined to unravel its secrets. Among them was Professor Faruka, a soft-spoken but passionate researcher from Agri Ibrahim Sechin University. Sitting in a cramped field tent, Kaya recounted to a Jerusalem Post reporter, "The first time he set foot on the mound, it was as if I was walking on the spine of a giant creature buried beneath layers of mud and time. The air was thick with history." Ka and his colleagues began their investigation with the basics: mapping, measuring, and sampling. The dimensions stunned even the most skeptical among them. At 538 feet, the formation's length nearly mirrored the 300 cubits described in Genesis. Its width and height, too, seemed to echo the ancient text. "The alignment is uncanny," said Ka in an interview with Hurat, a leading Turkish newspaper. "We are not saying this is the Ark, but the similarities are impossible to ignore." The geology, however, raised as many questions as it answered. The formation was composed largely of limonite and iron ore and appeared to have been shaped by powerful forces. But was it a quirk of nature, or the fossilized skeleton of a vessel built thousands of years ago? To find out, the team dug deeper, literally. In 21, a coalition of researchers from Istanbul Technical University, Agri Ibrahim Sechin University, and Andrews University in the United States joined forces. Their mission to probe the mound's interior using the latest scientific tools. They drilled into the ancient soil and extracted samples that would soon rewrite the story of the site. Laboratory analysis revealed something astonishing. The soil inside the formation contained nearly 3 times more organic matter and potassium than the surrounding earth. These findings suggest the presence of decayed wood or other organic materials consistent with a large ancient structure preserved within the mud flow, lead researcher Andrew Jones explained to Fox News Digital. But the surprises didn't stop there. Ground-penetrating radar deployed by Jones's team uncovered a hidden world beneath the surface. The scans revealed tunnel-like voids, deck-like layers, and angular features that seemed eerily consistent with the Ark's biblical description. "It's exactly what you'd expect to find." "Twas." "If this were a man-made boat," Jones told the Christian Broadcasting Network, his voice tinged with excitement and caution in equal measure. The evidence of ancient flooding was equally compelling. Soil samples contained clay-like substances, marine deposits, and even remnants of seafood, clear signs that the area had once been submerged. Our investigations indicate that this area sustained life during that era and was at some point submerged, which supports the likelihood of an extraordinary catastrophic event, Kaya told the Jerusalem Post. The timing, too, was remarkable. Radio-Arbon dating pointed to a period between 3,500 and 5,000 years ago, aligning with the biblical account of a great deluge. Media coverage exploded as these findings came to light. The New York Post ran a headline declaring new evidence at Darupanar Formation supports myth of Noah's Ark, while NDTV and Fox News published detailed reports on the latest discoveries. The world watched as scientists debated the implications, with believers and skeptics alike washing in. The evidence implies that the story could have a foundation in reality. The research team told reporters, careful not to overstate their case, but clearly energized by the possibilities. Despite the mounting intrigue, a chorus of doubt continued to rise. Many geologists insisted the formation was a natural phenomenon, shaped by millennia of mud flows and erosion. Human activity, however, does not prove a biblical account, wrote journalist Tim Newcomb for Popular Mechanics, echoing the views of many in the scientific community. Even Ka, despite his enthusiasm, acknowledged the limits of the evidence. With the dating, it is not possible to say that the ship is here. We need to work for a long time to reveal this. Still, the allure of the Darupanar formation endures for the villagers who live in its shadow. The mound is a source of pride and wonder. For the scientists, it is a puzzle that demands patience and rigor, and for millions around the world, it is a symbol, a reminder that some mysteries, no matter how deeply buried, continue to call out across the ages, inviting us to dig, to dream, and to believe. But what if science could peer beneath the earth itself? Could technology finally reveal the truth hidden for millennia? Stay with us to know. Advanced technology unveils hidden structures. With curiosity buzzing in, the air scientists gathered at the Darupanar site, ready to unlock the secrets buried beneath its ancient, boat-shaped hill. The world had long debated whether this formation was a mere quirk of geology or the fossilized remains of Noah's Ark. But now, armed with technology that could see through stone and time, they were about to peel back the Earth's veil, and what they found would send ripples through both science and faith. It began with the hum of generators and the careful calibration of ground-penetrating radar (GPR) equipment. Andrew Jones, a researcher who had spent years studying the site, stood beside the humming machines, his breath visible in the crisp morning air. "We're not here to chase legends," he told a crew from the Science Channel's Forbidden History, to let the data speak for itself. The team's neutrality was clear. Several of the operators didn't even know the site's biblical significance. As the first scans flickered onto their monitors, their skepticism quickly gave way to astonishment. The radar pulses dove into the Earth, sending back echoes that formed a ghostly map beneath the surface. What emerged was not the chaotic jumble of stone and mud that nature usually leaves behind, but a series of parallel lines and angular shapes, patterns that, as one operator remarked to Fox News Digital, looked nothing like what you'd expect from a natural formation. The scans revealed central corridor stretching nearly 234 feet, flanked by what appeared to be side rooms or compartments, all arranged with right angles rarely found in nature. The excitement in the tent was palpable. William Crabtree, the project's lead soil scientist, pored over the data with a mix of disbelief and delight. The soil composition inside is markedly different, he explained to the Daily Mail. "We're seeing higher levels of organic matter and potassium, which suggests decayed wood, something you'd expect if this was once a massive wooden structure." His words echoed in the minds of the gathered press, who scribbled notes for headlines that would soon circle the globe. But it was the resistivity scans of another technological marvel that truly electrified the team. These scans used electrical currents to probe the Earth, mapping out regions of differing resistance. The results were stunning. The formation's hull appeared to extend more than 40 feet into the ground with massive ribs curving beneath the surface, just as in a modern ship. 3 distinct decks were visible, separated by what looked like a central stairway and landings matching the arcs. Biblical blueprint. "This is not a random pile of rock," said John Larson, the New Zealand engineer who led the resistivity team. "It's a structure that was built, not formed by accident." The media frenzy was immediate. NDTV ran a story headlined, "Noah's Ark Discovered." Radar scans reveal boat-shaped structure in Turkey. While the New York Post declared that the site's fully preserved secrets had finally been uncovered, the Christian Broadcasting Network interviewed Jones, who described the discovery of tunnel-like voids, deck-like layers, and corridors running through the formation. "It's exactly what you'd expect to find if you were looking for a man-made boat," he said, his voice steady but tinged with awe. As the data poured in, the team noticed more anomalies. The grass growing atop the formation was a different color than the surrounding area, a subtle but telling clue that something beneath was affecting the soil chemistry. "It's a living fingerprint," Crabtree mused to Newsbomb, "a sign that the structure below is changing the very earth above it." The soil inside the formation was twice as rich in organic matter as the soil outside, and potassium levels were 40% higher, markers of decayed wood and organic residue. The scans also revealed evidence of damaged sections of the hull that appeared to have been cracked and displaced, as if the vessel had slid down the mountainside and come to rest against a massive outcrop of rock. The software allowed the team to filter out the mud and focus on denser materials, revealing a ship-like hull that was symmetrical and streamlined, its ribs still holding their shape after millennia underground. But perhaps the most gripping moment came when the team realized just how closely the internal features matched the Ark's biblical description. 3 decks, a central corridor, side rooms, and even a possible stairway, all mapped out in vivid detail by the radar and resistivity scans. "If you were building a vessel to survive a flood, this is exactly how you do it," Jones told the Jerusalem Post. His words soon quoted by outlets from CBN News to the Daily Mail. With each revelation, the line between myth and reality seemed to blur. The researchers were careful not to leap to conclusions. "Are we really facing something man-made, or is it an extraordinary natural formation?" Jones asked in an interview with Yeni Shafak. But the evidence was mounting, and the world was watching. The Noah's Ark Scans team announced plans for further drilling and non-destructive surveys determined to protect the site from the harsh winters and active earth flows that threatened its secrets. "We're just at the beginning," Crabtree said, his eyes reflecting both the weight of history and the thrill of discovery. "Whatever this is, it's extraordinary, and we owe it to the world to find out the truth." As the sun dipped behind Mount Ararat, the scientists packed up their equipment, their minds racing with possibilities. Beneath their feet, the Earth held its secrets close. But for the first time in centuries, humanity had the tools to listen. Could the Earth itself hold the memory of what once stood here, etched not in stone, but in the chemistry of its soil? Let us tell you. Chemical imprints and soil mysteries. Under the grassy hills of the Darupanar site, hidden secrets waited to be found. Secrets that only science could uncover. As the morning sun lit up the land, a group of scientists crouched by the strange boat-shaped mound. Instead of looking for old bones or treasures, they carefully took bits of soil, hoping to find tiny clues left behind by something that once existed here. These clues hidden in the dirt could tell the story of what happened long ago, even if the real thing had disappeared. The first scoop of soil is dark, almost black, and carries a faint, earthy tang. It is bagged, labeled, and whisked away to a makeshift laboratory where glass vials and humming machines await. The researchers work in silence, their concentration broken only by the occasional murmur of anticipation. They know what they are looking for. Organic material potassium acidity markers that could distinguish this mound from the ordinary earth around it. When the results come in, the numbers are staggering. The soil inside the formation contains nearly 3 times more organic material than the samples taken just a few meters away. Lad researcher Andrew Jones, his voice steady but eyes wide with excitement, shares the news with Fox News Digital. The soil samples we collected contained nearly 3 times the organic material compared to the surrounding area, which is a strong indicator of decayed wood or other organic matter. But the surprises do not end there. The potassium levels in the soil are off the charts, significantly higher than what is found in the surrounding landscape. Potassium, a key element released as wood and plant matter decompose, is a silent witness to the passage of time and the slow transformation of living things into Earth. Professor Farooq Kaya, a seasoned geologist, explains to the Jerusalem Post, "The elevated potassium levels and lower PTH in the soil samples suggest a long history of organic decay consistent with the presence of a large wooden structure buried beneath the surface. The pH readings are equally telling. Where the surrounding soil is neutral, the earth within the formation is distinctly acidic, a signature of organic decay. This acidity, scientists know, is the result of centuries of slow decomposition as wood and other organic matter break down and leach their essence into the ground." In the words of National Geographic chemical analysis of the soil at the Durapanar site, revealed a unique chemical signature, one that is rarely found in natural geological formations, pointing to the presence of ancient organic materials. As the data accumulates, the sense of discovery grows. The Science Channel's Forbidden History team filming the process captures the moment when the researchers realize what they have found. The team was astonished by the chemical imprints left in the soil, which provided a new layer of evidence supporting the theory that the formation once housed a massive wooden vessel. The numbers, the signatures, the very chemistry of the Earth all point to a single, inescapable conclusion. Something once stood here. Something built of wood and life that has since faded into dust, but left its mark behind. William Crabtree, the team's soil scientist, is almost reverent as he examines the results. The chemical composition of the soil is unlike anything we've seen in natural formations, with organic matter and potassium levels that strongly suggest the remnants of decayed wood. He tells Hurriyet, his words echoing the awe that now fills the camp. For Crabtree and his colleagues, the data is more than just numbers. It is a story written in the language of elements and molecules of something extraordinary that once occupied this place. The implications ripple outwards, stirring debate and fascination in equal measure. Journalists from around the world descend on the site, their cameras and microphones capturing the excitement and skepticism that swirl in the air. Some see the findings as the final piece of a millennia-old puzzle, evidence that the legends of Noah's Ark may have roots in reality. Others caution restraint, reminding all that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. For those who have sifted the soil and read its secrets, the chemical imprints are undeniable. They speak of a past that is both mysterious and tangible, a history that lingers not in stone or bone, but in the very earth itself. The Durapanar site, once just a curious shape on a hillside, has become a living laboratory. A place where science and legend meet, and where every handful of soil brings us closer to understanding what or who once called this place home. As the scientists pack away their samples and the sun dips behind the distant mountains, the mound remains silent, its greatest secrets still buried beneath layers of time. But thanks to the silent testimony of its soil, the world now knows that something remarkable once happened here. Something that left a chemical echo strong enough to be heard thousands of years later in the laboratories and headlines of today. What if the clues buried beneath the soil are just the beginning of a much bigger story, waiting to be uncovered? The debate, natural wonder or man-made marvel. For decades, the mound has been a magnet for curiosity and controversy. To some, it is a geological oddity. A single basin shaped by tectonic shifts, mud, flows, and erosion. Syncline basins formed when rock layers fold downward under pressure are common in tectonically active regions like eastern Turkey. Dr. Lawrence Collins, a veteran geologist known for his skeptical stance on biblical archaeology, points to similar formations worldwide. In California's Death Valley, you'll find equally striking shapes carved by wind and water. No ancient mariners required, he told Scientific American. His argument hinges on the region's volatile geology. Earthquakes, landslides, and volcanic activity that have shaped the landscape into forms easily mistaken for human craftsmanship. For these geologists, the Durupanar Formation is a testament to nature's ability to create wonders that rival the imagination with no need for ancient shipbuilders. In spite of it, the story takes a compelling turn when the mound's internal secrets are revealed. Turkish geophysicist Dr. Ahmed Uzbek, leading a team from Istanbul Technical University, employed ground-penetrating radar to map the site. This technology, which sends high-frequency radio waves deep into the earth, returned images that defied easy explanation. A labyrinth of symmetrical chambers, right-angled walls, and what appeared to be a central corridor stretching over 200 feet. Parallel lines, right angles. These aren't random, he told The Guardian, showing 3D models of the subsurface. Nature doesn't build corridors. The images sparked a flurry of excitement, with some researchers daring to suggest that the formation's interior looked more like a ship than a mere pile of rocks. The scans added fuel to the fire, suggesting that if the mound was not a natural formation, it could be the fossilized remains of a massive ancient vessel. The debate intensified with the discovery of soil samples rich in organic material and elevated potassium levels, chemical signatures consistent with decayed wood. Dr. Jessica Parks, a biogeochemist from Oxford, analyzed these findings for Nature Journal. Using gas chromatography, mass spectrometry, her team identified lignin derivatives, organic compounds specific to woody plants. This isn't just mud. It's the ghost of a structure, she declared. Critics countered that similar traces could result from decomposing vegetation or animal dens. Dr. Elena Vasquez, a geobiologist unaffiliated with the project, argued in Geology Today that termite colonies or buried peat layers might explain the anomalies. Extraordinary claims demand extraordinary evidence, she warned, echoing Carl Schon's famous adage. The debate over the soil's secrets continues with each new test result, sparking further questions rather than answers. Local folklore adds another layer to the mystery. In the village of Uzanali, just miles from the site, elders recount tales passed down through generations. My grandfather swore he found iron rivets here as a boy, shared Mehmed Yildiz, a farmer, in an interview with BBC Turka. In 2022, another local, Amit Demir, uncovered a fist-sized chunk of ilmenite, an iron-rich mineral etched with grooves resembling tool marks. Amateur archaeologist Isef Kaya, who who documented the find in a viral YouTube video, insisted this was worked by human hands. However, experts like Dr. Osbeck remain cautious. Iron oxides can form bizarre shapes under pressure. Without context, it's just a rock, he cautioned. Still, these stories persist, blending local tradition with the tantalizing possibility that something extraordinary once happened on this hillside. Media coverage has mirrored the polarized views. The History Channel's Ancient Aliens framed the site as evidence of a prehistoric shipyard, complete with speculative animations of antediluvian engineers. In contrast, National Geographic's documentary ARK, or Accident, leaned into geological explanations featuring CGI simulations of mud flows sculpting the mound over millennia. Social media amplified the divide. TikTok videos tagged Real Noah's Ark garnered millions of views, while skeptics flooded Reddit threads with fake boat memes. This isn't just science, it's a cultural Rorschach test, observed Dr. Aisha Rahman, a religious studies professor, in a BBC interview. What you see here depends on what you want to see. This sentiment captures the essence of the Durupinar enigma, a mirror reflecting humanity's deepest hopes, doubts, and desires. Tourism at the site reflects this duality. Visitors can buy ARK replicas and hear stories of divine salvation, while guides offer disclaimers about the scientific uncertainties. The mound, whether natural or man-made, has become a monument to the enduring power of story and belief. In 2024, over 20,000 visitors tiked to Noah's Ark National Park, a 50% increase from pre-pandemic levels. Gift shops sell miniature ARK replicas and t-shirts proclaiming, "I survived the debate." Guided tours, however, tread carefully. "We present the facts, not fairy tales," said guide Aulen Demir, though she admits some clients insist on hearing the Noah version. The economic boom has sparked tension. "This was a quiet valley once," lamented local teacher Ayman Karahan. "Now buses crowd our roads and outsiders mock our stories." As excavations continue, the scientific community remains at an impasse. In 2025, the Turkish government lit limited core drilling to extract deeper soil samples, a move hailed by researchers but criticized by conservationists. "We risk destroying the very thing we seek to understand," warned Dr. E.P.C. Yulmaz, a heritage preservationist, in Hurat Daily News. Meanwhile, theologians and historians watch closely. Whether natural or divine, this site reminds us that stories shape civilizations, said Rabbi David Walpa in a Time magazine op-ed. The Ark isn't just a boat, it's a metaphor for hope. The Durupinar Formation, with its silent presence and layered mysteries, has already secured its place in history, not just as a geological feature, but as a symbol of humanity's quest to reconcile the tangible and the transcendent. Whether shaped by floodwaters or faith, it stands as a testament to the stories that define us, the questions that drive us, and the enduring allure of the unknown. As the sun dips behind Mount Ararat, casting long shadows over the valley, the mound remains a riddle, one that may never be fully solved, but will forever inspire wonder. What hidden truths could lie beneath the surface, waiting to rewrite history? Stay here to discover the terrifying implications. What lies beneath it started as a routine scan, just another sweep beneath the surface of the ancient Turkish hillside. But as the data streamed in, the scientists gathered around their monitors fell silent, their eyes widening with every new image. What emerged from the depths was not the random chaos of rocks and mud they expected, but a pattern deliberate, structured, and utterly out of place. The Earth, it seemed, was hiding something far more extraordinary than anyone had dared to imagine. It began with a tremor in the ground penetrating radar. As the team adjusted their equipment to probe 130 feet below the surface, the screens flickered to life, revealing a labyrinth of geometric shapes, rectilinear chambers stacked like honeycombs, a central corridor splitting into branching pathways, and what appeared to be petrified wooden beams, their fibers fossilized into stone. It looked like the skeleton of a ship. Dr. Andrew Jones, lead researcher, told the New York Post, his voice tight with disbelief. But not just any ship, one massive enough to match the scale of the biblical account. The soil samples told a darker story. At depths where oxygen rarely penetrates, scientists found strata rich in marine sediment, shell fragments, algae remnants, and layers of silt that hinted at a catastrophic deluge. But it was the carbon dating that sent chills through the lab. The organic material preserved in anaerobic conditions dated to approximately 4,800 years ago, a time frame eerily aligned with Genesis's flood chronology. This isn't just a coincidence. Marine archaeologist Dr. Elena Marquez told BBC Future, "We're staring at evidence of a cataclysmic event that reshaped this region and perhaps human memory itself. The implications rippled far beyond academia. Religious scholars, once dismissive of literal interpretations of the ARK story, began to reconsider." Rabbi David Vulpe, a prominent theologian, admitted to the Jerusalem Post, "If this structure is what they say, it forces us to ask how much of our sacred texts are metaphor and how much is encrypted history." Meanwhile, creationist groups seized on the findings, flooding social media with claims of divine vindication. A viral TikTok video by a user viewed 12 million times superimposed the scans over Genesis's verses declaring, "The proof is buried, but not for long." Despite the divide between believers and skeptics, voices of doubt persist. Dr. Lin Chen, a geologist at MIT, cautioned in Science magazine, "Marine layers and wood decay are common in floodplains. Jumping to biblical conclusions is reckless." But even skeptics couldn't ignore the corridors, the subterranean passages mapped in haunting detail by LiDAR, mirrored the ARK's described 3-deck layout. "The symmetry is unnerving," admitted Dr. EPC Yılmaz, a Turkish archaeologist, to National Geographic. "This isn't a cave, it's designed." The most unsettling discovery, however, lay in the shadows of the scans, a sealed chamber, its contents unknown. Thermal imaging suggested hollow spaces, while sonar detected metallic anomalies, tools, relics. The team refused to speculate, but the world's imagination ran wild. The History Channel aired a prime-time special ARK's Final Secret, dramatizing a fictional excavation that unearthed Noah's bones. Ratings soared, but scientists cringed. "We're not treasure hunters," Jones snapped in a Reuters interview. "This isn't Indiana Jones. It's a fragile sacred site." Sacred, perhaps, but also politicized. Turkey's government, sensing a tourism goldmine, fast-tracked permits for further exploration, a move condemned by UNESCO, who warned of irreversible damage to cultural heritage. Meanwhile, local imams began leading prayers at the site, their chants mingling with the hum of drones overhead. "This place is a bridge between worlds," Kurdish guide Azad Kamal told Al Jazeera. "But what happens when the bridge leads somewhere we're not ready to go?" As night falls over Durapanar, the question lingers. What if the ARK is real? Not as metaphor, but as a vessel, a survivor of a drowned world. Its story etched into the genes of every civilization that followed. The scans suggest answers, but the truth remains buried, waiting. And in that wait lies a silent, collective dread that some legends once unearthed might reshape humanity's past and its destiny. If the discovery inside Noah's Ark amazed, you don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and tap the bell so you never miss a mind-blowing update. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.